We are live. Welcome to Isle of the Rare. And I am your host this evening, kind of mixing things up a little bit, changing the pace. So, in a rare time, you guys will see me host, and Rena will be the moderator. Tonight, we are welcoming Metarog. Roger. Hello. How are you?
I am doing quite well, thank you. After meeting the three of you previously, I'm even doing better.
Oh, that's so kind. We really appreciate you joining us this evening. Thank you so much.
Well, I think you have things kind of reverse here. I should be thanking you for the incredible welcome and the incredible hospitality that you have shown me. I really, truly appreciate it.
Oh, you're very kind. Well, as everyone has started to learn, this show is about various members of the comic community, but not necessarily about comics. It's about the people behind the channels. So this evening, we would like to take advantage of the opportunity to get to know Roger as a person. So for Isle of the Rare, we're going to be asking him some questions about him personally. So Roger, why don't you just open up by telling us a little bit about yourself and, anything you're comfortable with sharing that's not necessarily comic book related.
Well, I've been married now for about 27 years, and we dated a few years before that. I do have a daughter who is 20 years old, and she is as you know, well, maybe you don't know, but I did mention in a few videos, she's a pianist and quite talented, although she is also very socially awkward, or thinking she is, and so she does not like to perform. But we have had the advantage of having concerts from Beethoven and to like the British band boys. What are those guys called?
Oh, I don't know. I know you mentioned Panic at the Disco, that she had
Panic at the Disco. Yep, that too. She loves that. Yep.
They are my favorite band right now. So
okay,
yeah.
well,
When you mentioned that in the chat, I was like, yes.
If I can ever get you a private concert, she will blow you away. But yeah, and I live here in Starkville, Mississippi. I moved here a year ago because my wife got a position here at Mississippi State University. I'm 55 years old, and I lived my first 54 years in Florida, but my first 44 in South Florida, with some times in Central and North Florida.
So you said Mississippi, right?
Correct. I'm in Starkville, Mississippi.
How does the weather vary from what you're so used to?
Well, that is a very good question, because in South Florida, when it got into the 50s, everybody wore parkas and the streets were abandoned. Here and you wear 50s, everybody goes out and starts playing out here in the streets. Yes, so it's very different. I know you're in Colorado, so you know about snow and cold weather, but to me, it's very shocking having to get up in the morning when it's in the teens. Yes, it's quite a shock for a lifelong Floridian. Yes, correct.
Well, and I'm sure you heard, I believe just a few days ago, that South Florida had a cold snap. And all of our South Florida friends were pretty whiny about how cold it was.
Yes, I called my mother, and she was in a panic because she's like, "Will my car start?" It was like it got into the 40s, and I was like, I'm fairly certain that the car is meant to take above freezing temperature, so yeah, it should start.
Well, I'm sure you didn't miss the raining iguanas. You heard about that, I'm sure.
Yes, I sure did. Yeah. Well, they are cold-blooded animals, reptiles. So yeah, they would go into shock under that kind of temperature. I understand.
Well, and I heard some ding-dong actually loaded a whole bunch of them in his car thinking they were dead. So he found a whole bunch of them, put them in his car, and started to drive away with them. And then they all woke up, and he had a whole car full of live moving around iguanas, and he crashes during it.
Oh yeah, Floridians are quite a peculiar type of people, of which I am one.
Oh, it's just so funny. Oh my goodness. Well, we are going to have Rena join us as well as a guest, further twisting with the Isle of the Rare. So, hello.
Hello, puppies. How's it going?
Hello, Ms. Rena.
I guess nobody else can really answer me.
Well,
But
they can in writing.
we have a lot of people hopping on. I see Bake, I see Sam, I see Super Us,
I see my brother. Hi.
I see all kinds of people. So welcome one, welcome all. I should probably stop talking because I'm not
Hi,
the host.
Kirk.
So keep going.
Hi, Unruly. Hi, Adam. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
You got some alumni here, Rob. You got a comic assassin in here.
Yes. Hello, Drew. Hello.
Fabulous last week, by the way. Fabulous episode. Loved it.
It's so much fun. And when we bring you guys back for the reunion show, he promised he's going to bring his snake. So we're super excited about that. Yes.
Right. Fabulous. Yes. Fabulous. I'll bring my dog.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Well, we're more excited that the snake will be in Drew's house than it won't be in our house. Oh. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Snakes are very important for the ecosystem, as Drew will tell you, though.
Very much so. Yes. Kate is like, yes, snakes are very cool. Well, and when Drew was actually here in Colorado, he went to one of our favorite hiking spots, and he sent me a picture the other day of a snake that they caught while they were out there hiking. And I'm like, you understand, Drew, that most people, they walk around the snakes. They don't grab them and take photos with them. But it's what he does for a living. So, you know. Yeah. Hey, hi, Leah.
Hey, Raul. How you doing, buddy?
So I'm going to ask you first, Roger.
Yes.
Tell us the rarest thing or rarest things that you own.
Okay. Well, I figured since I know that there are other non-comic book people here, I figured I'll mix it up a little bit. All right. And I'm going to start with a video game. So I know Cade would be interested in this. Right? But this is probably older than maybe even your mother. And it is from the Odyssey to Magnavox Odyssey 2 video game system. Actually, they called it a computer because it had a full stroke keyboard. Well, not stroke, but it had like a kind of one of those flat keyboards. And this is actually the rarest game for that system. It's probably worth a couple $100. And it has great art on it, as you can see. There were only 49 games that came out for that system because, of course, because Sharon, as you know, the Atari totally blew it out of the water.
That's what I played.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. We talked about that previously. So that's something that you don't see very often. Then I'm going to talk about a few comics, and then I'm going to go to the other one I talked to you about. This is something that I got a long time ago, back in the 80s, because I've been collecting for a long time, guys. And what happened was that back after John Byrne started rebooted Superman, they kind of wanted to get a little bit of notoriety, or not notoriety, really fame or whatever. They wanted to get a little bit more of an expansive marketing campaign. So what they did is they put a questionnaire inside of Superman #1 and Action Comics 584, the first reboot after the crisis, right? And you filled it out, and you put your name, and you put your comic book local comic book shop's name, and if they picked out, I think, like 100 winners, and you would get a special prize, and so would they. Well, this is the prize, okay, which is a complete set of the Man of Steel miniseries, including the covers. But that's not all the rarest part. The rarest part is that I still have the little note that they sent you when you were the winner. And this is actually the one for the comic book shop. I was not the winner as an individual, but my comic book shop was, and I managed to get this from them. I forgot exactly how. Well, I forgot exactly how. It was legal, but I forgot exactly how that was. Right. Here's another one that is kind of rare in that it looks like just a regular old issue. That banner's down there, Rena, so I'm not sure if I'm showing the whole comic, but
Yeah, take the banners down, honey.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can see if the whole comic's in there, but this one is a newsstand version, which of a comic which normally, notice that down there it says, I don't know if you can see, it's probably two. Trust me, it's $2.25, right? And because it went on the newsstand as that, but if you went into the direct market or a comic book shop, it costs you 25 cents, right?
Wow.
And this version here, you see the 25-cent circle there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one has characteristics of both. It has the 25 cents there, but it has the $2.25 right down there. See that?
Wow, yes.
So it's an air variant, very rare, probably less than 10 or 15 of these in existence.
Wow.
Dude.
That is so cool.
A couple other real quick. This is, again, a regular old version of X-Men number 302 here on the left, but on the right, they misprinted about a dozen to 15 with no price, no Curtis circulation info, and no UPC code. So again, pretty rare, not as rare as that. But the rarest thing I have, and this is also the coolest thing, because it was actually used in a movie. There is a movie called Empire of the Sun, starring a very young, the actor that did Batman later on.
Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck.
No, after that. Somebody in the chat will know.
Gosh, who else played Batman? Val Kilmer, I think.
Bale, Christian Bale.
Thank you,
Raul. Raul's from my own neighborhood.
Christian Bale fan at all.
And he was a little kid, and he actually read this comic book in the movie. This is not a real comic book. This is a mock-up. Inside is actually an issue of Superman. And I'll show you that. There. You can see Superman right there. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right, but in the middle is an actual mock-up of a World War II comic book called Ack and Andy. They actually just put it in there a few pages, so when he opened it in the movie, you could see this page.
Interesting.
You know, and how I got this is that a DC archivist, I helped him with a few projects of some rare variants that he did not know about. And so he sent me that, and here's the note as proof of what I got. So this is the actual well, it's not the actual comic used in the movie, but it was on the set at the time of the movie.
That's really cool.
So there's probably less than 10 or 15. As far as I can tell, probably less than 10 of those in existence. The last thing I'm going to do, because I don't want to take up too much time, again, for you coin collectors out there, right? I have this. This was given to me by my grandfather way back when. This is let's see if I can get the date in here. It's an 1883. Lighting is terrible.
1883. Wow.
1883 Morgan doll. I think it shows up there. Does it show up there?
I can see the numbers.
It's so light. It's so light. It's tough to see, but that's an 1880. Yeah, there you go.
That is beautiful.
1883 wow. Morgan silver dollar.
Wow.
That is very
cool. I mean, it's not that valuable, but it is, you know, obviously you're not going to see those in circulation anymore.
Well, and it's sentimental, right? I mean, because it was passed down, and that's really, really amazing. Wow.
Right. And those, the last thing is those two in the back there are actually signed inside by the creators of a lot of the Unity universe. It was only available in a conference that was given for retailers. And now these go for quite a pretty penny, but of course I got them way back when, you know, us old guys do that.
Well, you know, so if you're ever broke, you know what you could do, right?
Oh, it'd be almost like lopping off an appendage to be able to give up some of these things. But yeah, I guess in a pinch I would have to. Yes.
You got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rena, I don't know how you're going to compare to those rare items, because I know what you want to show as your rare item. And he smoked you hard. But You go ahead
Sorry.
and
Okay,
you show your
Okay, well,
rare
so
item.
I would want to say the rarest item in existence here is merch, but I know a lot of you guys already have that, so
Good try.
good try.
Good try.
So actually, what I have here, which was actually yours, and you collected these, so I can't take much of the credit except for now being deemed the new owner.
I was a
So-
major nerd in high school.
So
much has changed.
we both like Spider-Man, and when Mom was young, she collected. Oh, there goes Pete.
Spider-Man was my first love.
She collected all of the Spider-Man cards. It's the
Cool.
entire set, and when we actually go to our LCS, we actually see some of the cards that she has go for tons of money in our LCS
Well, not
case.
tons, but
But a decent amount. But I mean, you even have all the way up to the rare cards.
well, yeah, I
which-
had. Don't they have like some hologram cards? in
yeah,
there?
yeah. The only 4 hologram cards. I don't know how on earth I'm gonna get the
Yeah, the
camera
glare
to
is
see
awful.
this. No, yeah, that's not happening. But it's 4 holographic cards, and there was only a select few.
And my brother, who is in the
who
chat,
is in the chat.
he helped me collect them.
Oh.
And
But this can go for a pretty penny too.
like $1.98. Come
No,
on, let's be
didn't
serious.
we recently?
$1.98.
I don't know.
I think it actually like some high.
I have several card sets too, including the some of the promotional holograms, and those are just cool things to collect. But again, I couldn't pull everything out for this episode, obviously. But those are just cool stuff.
It's true. We are, Tommy. Yes, because we're sitting next to each other, but it's reversed for you guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could look this way, but I would be looking at a wall, so that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rarest place you have ever been.
Ah, okay. Well, I gave this some thought. I've actually been to some pretty, unique places here and there, but there was one. I lived in South Florida, as I said, right? So we have something down there called the Everglades. Now, Bake the Snake, Hialeah, they know all about this, right? And one time back in the late '80s, I got the smart notion, and I grabbed one of my friends from college at the time and said, "Hey, let's go fishing down there in the Everglades, and let's take your dad's John boat without telling him." Okay. Because generally he was working, right? So oh yeah, let's go down there. So we act like we know what we were doing. We had no idea, none, right? So we take this John boat, we pull it out, we take it out in the Everglades, shallow water, mangroves, et cetera, and we said, oh, we know where we're at. The sun's there. Well, yeah, except that the sun's not there 4 hours later, So we get totally lost in the Everglades.
Oh my gosh.
We don't see a soul. There is just marshes. There is just, alligators and snakes and moss, et cetera. And it's getting on. We probably left in the morning, probably 2:00. We're just going around. At this point, we ran out of gas. We're just like rowing the thing,
Oh.
And we so luckily, and I mean really luckily, there's another boat that's out there, and they have, of course, like a compass and all this, and say, hey, could you tow us out of here? So they're like, yeah. I goes, we got lost. There's probably nobody's ever even been back here before.
Oh
so I was like, oh, thanks for letting us know. So yeah, they towed us out. We got home like, probably right before dark. And yeah, that was the one and only time I ever went fishing in the Everglades.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, and Drew's out there pretty much every day. So eventually he would have found you. Eventually.
Yeah, probably by now I would have been, at somewhere in the entrails of a gator. But yeah, he would have found me eventually.
Oh, you actually got very lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
I did.
So Rena, I guess I should look this way,
Yeah,
even though
okay,
I'm not
I'm
actually
just
looking at you.
Yeah.
Where's
How's it going?
the rarest place you've been?
Okay, so I would say that so far, I mean, I haven't really been around a whole lot. I mean, I'm kind of young and small, so but right now the rarest place I've been is under the sea.
She's not a
Under the
mermaid,
sea.
people. She's
No,
not. No.
or a crab with a Jamaican accent.
You could be crabby.
Sadly. Thanks for that. So yeah, I actually did scuba diving in 11th grade, and there's actually somebody else in the chat who also has done this. So we went to Key Largo and Key West, and we did a lot of diving, and it was 5 days, and we did 5 different days of diving, and just each day just got more and more and more cool. We saw abandoned shipwrecks. We saw tons of different kinds of fish. There was a nursing shark, an eel, just like all this different kinds of stuff.
I was on the boat puking.
Yeah,
no,
but I was not the best diver, so diving around kind of freaked me out despite all the beautiful things. So I'm like, I'd rather be up on the boat being sick. I'm sorry, diving was not for me. I'm a mountain person.
The last day that we went out, the water was so choppy and everyone was sick, not just me. And we had this poor guy from Scotland who had, come to Florida to experience snorkeling and blah, blah, blah. And he and I were sitting up on the deck of the boat, chewing ginger gum like fiends, trying not to be sick. And all the kids were coming up on the deck, and we all started singing 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And let me tell you, we got all the way down to 0.
We got to negative 20.
Oh,
That's how bad it was. We did like negative 27 before we were
everybody
like,
was so
stop.
sick. It was the worst. It was the worst. But she got certified. So.
But yay. And on the last day, we saw a sea turtle, which was absolutely cool, man. It came up right in front of me and my friend. It was the coolest thing ever. So it was.
They are cool.
As a break, we need to do fire facts. I just realized.
Okay,
yeah. Kay just looked at me and I was like, ruh.
Okay. I'm gonna make you move. Fine. You're in the You're in the designated chair. So shoot.
She's talking to the curtains.
I am. Yeah.
Well, hello guys, it is me, Burning Block, but I touched this rare mineral, so now I'm a rare plant. So anyway, let's do my rare facts. Okay, number 1, red/pink diamonds are the rarest of any diamond. Number 2, some cats are actually allergic to people. And number 3, the most rare natural item on the planet is painite, a crystal that costs $60,000 per carat. It is found in northern Myanmar. Okay, I'm gonna go leave and see if I can solve this piranha plant issue.
Very nicely done. Burning Block Rod 99.
Excellent.
All right.
Yes, Sam.
Excellent. Yeah, he got me on that last one. I did not know that last one.
Yes. Okay. You move the mic.
Yeah, so they can hear me.
They could hear you anyway.
Last question.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
Your rarest memory.
Okay, well, this one I have a lot. Obviously the birth of my daughter is it's the most precious when we're talking about rarity. I mean, sometimes we have to realize scarcity and rarity, and one is just in the absolute, one is based on demand, right? But to me, the most precious memory that this audience would probably get a kick out of. I've said this on my channel, but I'll say it again. In that back in the late to 80s, I think 1987, I went to a comic book convention in Broward County. Again, the Florida guys will know this. It's just north of Miami-Dade, right? And again, this is a young Metarog in college. I was like just hunting comics like we do now, right? And I wasn't paying attention to the guests there, right? So I'm here hunting my comics all around, and I look over to where there's a bit of a line there, and I said, man, that guy looks familiar to me. And when I look closely, yes, that was Stan Lee. Okay, so I was like, hey, it's one of those things. You get a flyer and you're like, oh, that's all I see. Oh, there's comics. That's all I need to see, right? So So I'm just going down there. I didn't realize he was going to be there. So I'm like, oh gosh. So I'm here, getting my comics that I have here for buying, and I'm getting in the line. Back then, they had no handler, nothing. There was like 10 people in that line. Okay, this was like in like one of these like halls that's like a club, right? Like a veterans of foreign wars, that kind of thing. So it wasn't that big, right? So I'm here getting in the line, and I'm there. I have my comics. I have various of them, and I'm like nervous. I'm like shaking there, because this is Stan Lee.
Stan Lee. Hello.
All right. So he shakes my hand. He says, "How you doing, young man? Nice to meet you. And then, would you like me to sign something?" So I put a comic book in front of him, and then he looks at me inquisitively and looks at the comic, and he says, "I don't think I've worked on this comic, young man." Of course, it was a DC Legion of Superheroes comic that I put in front of him. So
no.
I wished at that moment that the earth would have swallowed me whole, because there's people around me, and I've been collecting comics at this point for 15 years. Of course, I know he didn't work on this, but I was just so flustered and so nervous and so awestruck at his presence that I did that. Now, but what did he do?
Was he gracious? Please
say
yes.
He was the most gracious man. He said, everybody, he said, hey, and everybody who was laughing and so forth, hey, everybody calm down. Is there something else I can sign for you? So I grabbed another comic. He goes, where would you want me to sign it? I don't even know what I babbled out, all right? At this point, I just wanted to like die right then. And so he took the comic, he signed it, and on the inside page, the right below, above the indicia, and he said, Excelsior.
Oh.
And I hightailed it out of there. Now, the problem here is that I cannot find that comic for the life of me. Because it is in an interior page. And if I sold that, that would just be the crumb on the atom bomb, because it was just a terrible experience. But meeting him was the most gracious and the most impactful, because sometimes you see these personalities and you think maybe it is a persona, but no, he was who he was. He loved his fans. He loved the medium. He did everything he could to make me comfortable, even in an incredibly uncomfortable situation. So to me, that was my rarest and most precious comic related experience.
That's amazing.
That's really
That
cool.
is really amazing. You always hope that someone that you admire is going to be all that you hope that they are. And to know that about him is so wonderful.
It was.
Oh,
So it's a big loss, but obviously he was already 95 or so when he
I think
passed
so.
away, yeah.
And he was ready to go.
Yeah. When I saw him, he was like super energetic. This guy was like everywhere. He was before that. When he was taking a break, he would go around, look at the talk to the vendors and say hi and everything. I mean, he was not just, hey, I'm going and doing something else. No, he was an active participant in the con back then.
That's wonderful.
That's really cool.
That is wonderful. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
That's really cool.
That's awesome. And Rena, I'm sure that when you're a famous author, you too will be that modest and kind. And
I hope so.
You're not going to get a big fat head and, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey. Hey.
Well,
I don't think my memory is even gonna. No. I was not expecting that whatsoever. Because
you can't top Stan Lee, dude.
If we were doing a vote, Roger, you would win, because mine's just as cute. I was honestly gonna say, my rarest memory is the day that Cade came home, because I was 5 years old, and it is literally my earliest memory. Like, I cannot remember anything past that of any importance. I can't even remember most of elementary school, but I remember clear as day the day he came home, and the second that he walked through the doors, I asked to hold him, and I can just vividly remember just holding him for the first time. And Kate, I'm so sorry. I'm like your stalker. When he was a baby, I used to sneak into my parents' room and I would totally spy on him as he slept. I'm kind of obsessed with him.
They have a very rare relationship. I can honestly say they are still best friends. They get along very, very well. Um, I am very, very fortunate with the children that I have.
So
That's a
but
beautiful
I
story.
think I think the vote would be Stanley.
Beautiful. I mean, mine was about an embarrassing situation. Yours was about, love and brotherhood and family. I mean, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
But
I
Stanley,
disagree.
But
Stanley,
Well, yeah, Legion of superheroes in front of Stan Lee.
you've got the Browns, and then you've got Stanley.
Well,
Well-
we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Well, we would very much like to thank you so much. I can't believe a half hour is over already.
Yeah.
We have had so much fun, and thank you so much for being on our show and sharing all these beautiful things with us. We are most grateful.
Yes.
Well, it's again, the honor has been totally mine. And let me just share one last thing, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
please, absolutely.
When we talk about rarity, and I would be remiss without saying that everyone here in the chat and the community, go to your nearest mirror and look in that mirror, because you are a rare artifact. You are a rare person. This community is not a common thing at all. It is a precious and special place, as you all know here. And I just want everybody to know that as long as we are in this community and we treat each other with respect, we treat each other with honor and love, this will continue to be a special place for all of us. And it is a rare thing in today's world. Even in the old world where I belonged in the time, it was a rare thing. So thank you, first of all, Life with YouTubers, Rena and Cade, for inviting me, and all of you in this great community for just being there, for just being who you are, and being the passion of comics is what brought us together, but the character that you all have is what keeps us here. So thank you all for, again, doing this, first of all, for highlighting these different individuals that are just, Sam was amazing here. I mean, Matt, come on, all these guys are my friends and my heroes. So thank you. I'm beyond honored to be in that pantheon of comic community members on here.
There's lots of love for you in the chat. I know it's hard to multitask
Yeah.
and see what everybody's saying, but there are a lot of really lovely things being said. Lots of love for you, Roger. And we're so happy that we get to be a part of this community and get to be a part of your life as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
Thank
on
you.
that note,
I think on that
we're
note,
done.
yeah,
Yes,
on
we
that-
are.
Woo!
Thank you, everyone in the chat, so much for being here. We really appreciate you. Thanks for putting up with me hosting. I promise next week, Rena will be back, and I will be back behind the camera where I belong. So thank you for joining us for Isla of the Rare. We're very grateful. As she nods at the curtain.
Okay, I'm trying for the
You need
audience
to hit end
here.
broadcast
Okay,
here.
all right. Thank you all so much for coming, and we will see you all
Later.
And the end.
All right. You need to click it again. There you go.
Yeah,
Got
okay.
it.